There's actually nothing in here. I just did that for effect. Cool intro though. I turned 25 a couple of months ago, quarter of a century, halfway to 50. I'm feeling it in my lower back right now. I've been doing this filmmaking thing for probably 5 or 6 years. Relatively in the grand scheme of life or compared to other people, not that long, but I have been doing it long enough to have obviously learned some things, made some mistakes, culminated a list of pieces of advice that I will always give to someone if they ask me for advice. And so I wanted to take my best, absolute top 3 pieces of advice that I've learned that I would give to someone just starting out, or honestly at any stage of your career, but especially if you're starting out. I think these are really important. So I hope you find these helpful. I think any video like this, whether you look up to the person or not, you might have no idea who I am. I think it's just helpful to learn from other people in their own experiences and mistakes of their own career. You might learn something you never knew. So the first one, gotta look at my notes because I forgot. The first point would be to chase growth, not perfection. I've gotten stuck in this even recently, but especially just in the stage of growing in my career. You want to make good videos, you want to make quality pieces of art that you want people to see, and especially when you're just starting out, when you don't have that much out there yet, you want your first pieces of art to be really good. And I get that. I think you should have a level of quality. I think you should push yourself to make something that's really, really good. But I've preached this so many times, especially on this channel, there's no growth in chasing perfection. If you try to make something, the same piece of work or the same video, if you try to keep making it better and better, and you've never posted or you put it off for so long, you're never going to grow through that. The only growth that's going to happen is when you say, okay, I'm fine with it not being perfect, which it will never be perfect, newsflash. Posting it and then learning from your mistakes, learning what you did wrong, maybe watching it a week or 2 later and saying, why did I do that? I should have done this differently. I think that has helped me so much in just saying, okay, I've got this video to a level of quality that I wanted at. I'm gonna post it, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not gonna care what people think, because I think that's a part of it too. People are just scared to say, oh, this isn't good enough for other people to watch it, let alone myself. Drop that, put it out there, make something that you think is good, not something that you think is perfect, because it's not gonna be perfect. I love to watch my pieces a few weeks later and say, oh, why did I do that? Let me write that down, let me do that differently. Even in making a simple talking head like this, I've made talking heads like this, and I get better at doing just simple videos like a talking head because I've done them in the past, and I've watched my own work and I've said, I didn't like that spot over there, so let me try doing it right here. I didn't like the lighting, so let me do it on a cloudy day. You get better at something by doing it. It's literally such a simple realization, but I think some people just forget that you get better at something by doing it. Point 2 would be to figure out, what are you good at? And if this had a sub point, it would just be experiment. And this is especially good for people starting out. Just do everything, try everything, do internships, do work for free, experiment on different cameras and lenses if you're able to, learn from anybody and everybody that you can. Just be a sponge. It's so important when you're early on to figure out what you're good at and to hone in on that, but you're not gonna be able to do that if you don't try everything and figure out, what am I actually good at? Even as I'm currently in my career, already knowing exactly what I want to do, what specific field of filmmaking I want to do, what pieces of gear I like. Sometimes I even feel stuck in general, and it just helps to try something new, to maybe use a lens I've never used, or to try a different, format of video that I've never tried. When you start out, that's important because you want to figure out what you're good at and hone in on that. But even if you're later on in your career and you've already figured out what you're good at, in seasons when you feel stuck, go back to that stage when you started out, when you were trying everything. And then my last point 3, would be to drop your ego. Do not have an ego if you're a filmmaker. If you're young and you're starting out and you maybe don't have a level of maturity that you will have down the road, at least have this right now. Do not have an ego at this current stage or ever in your career, because if you get to a place where you say, I know it all, I've learned everything I need to learn, I'm gonna run with what I have, that is literally the definition of being stuck. And just being someone who people don't want to talk to or people don't want to create with. Don't ever feel like you can't learn something from somebody else who you feel like you couldn't learn something from. There's been people who I've learned something from who I wouldn't necessarily say I look up to them or I am inspired by them, by what they make, but they're a different person with different skill sets and talents that I just naturally learn from because I'm not them. And so the sub point of this would be to collaborate with people. Don't be afraid to ask for help, to just make a video with somebody else using their skill sets. Later on in people's career, when they get really good at something, sometimes it's easy to just kind of like hone in on that one thing and shelter yourself and only do that one thing and never really get out and collaborate or ask for help because you're just really good at this one thing. And I think that is the easiest way to get stuck. And it's especially great at this point. You know, I would say I work with people or know people who are pretty good at what they do in filmmaking, but they're good at specific things. And so being able to collaborate with someone who's a colorist who's really good at coloring, or a director who's really good at directing. Don't feel like you know everything or are ever good enough in your career to learn something new from someone else. I think the best pieces of advice are the simplest ones, the ones that you can implement every single day. Not, hey, you know, make this your camera default setting and do this when you're color grading. Like, those are great, but honestly, just like things that can connect with growing you in your maturity as a filmmaker or as a person. It's so easy on social media and YouTube these days to look at other people and what they're creating and get discouraged and want to like hone in on your own craft and not talk to anybody. And I feel like we live in a year, 2025, where we can get so hyper focused on like these little pieces of advice and how do we just get better and better, and how can I get something from somebody else. And I just think the best pieces of advice, especially the ones we need to hear now, are the most simple, the ones you can wake up and immediately apply to your life, the ones that will not just change you as a creative, but also as a person. And these are the best three that I got, that I feel like if anybody asked me, they walked up to me in the street and they said, hey man, saw you on YouTube, what advice would you give me if I'm starting out? Well, I'll either send them a link to this video or I'll just tell them these points if I can remember them off the top of my head, which I think I could. These are pretty simple. But that's all I got. I hope you learned something. I hope you took notes, because if you didn't, you might forget. So take notes maybe. Also, if you haven't seen my previous video, I hate plugging stuff, but my previous video, The Art of Minimalism, honestly, I'm blown away. Like, anyone who's watched it, thank you. This video has gotten way more reach and response than I've ever gotten on a piece of work, or that I ever thought I could get on a piece of work. So it's humbling, and it's cool to see that it's helping so many people. So go watch it if you haven't. Hope you enjoyed this one. And I have a very cool little cinematic piece coming in I almost said November. It is November. In December, that I'm really stoked about. So stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna go enjoy my Saturday. It's a beautiful fall day out here in North Carolina. And whatever day it is where you are, enjoy that day. And bye. That's all I got. If there's two things I'm not good at, it's introing and outroing. Like, I know what I want to talk about, but how to start a video and how to end a video, how do you do that? This is why I script my videos. Not these.